Okay, let's dive in. We're looking at some fascinating sources today, ones that really flip the script on the story of Noah and the flood.
Right. It's not just ancient history. The argument here is that the flood is something perennial. It happens again and again.
In almost every generation, the texts say. So not a one-time event, but a recurring crisis.
And what really jumped out at me is how they frame God's promise after the flood. You know, the never again promise.
Yeah, the rainbow, the covenant.
Well, these sources argue it wasn't quite a blanket guarantee. They call it a carefully termed legal clause with limitations.
A legal clause. Okay, that's interesting. Like fine print on disaster insurance?
Sort of, yeah. It basically says, okay, no more water floods that cover the whole planet, but other kinds of floods.
Yeah.
Still on the table.
So the method changed, maybe, but not the possibility of, well, of catastrophe.
Exactly. And that's our mission today, to unpack these recurring floods and then use Noah and Abraham as, like, case studies.
To figure out this core question the sources raise. Are we supposed to be saving ourselves from the world, or are we actually meant to be saving the world itself?
That's the heart of it. And these floods, they come in different forms, physical and spiritual.
Okay, let's touch on the physical first. That seems more straightforward. The sources mention things like
Wildfires, tsunamis, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, things that demand, immediate physical shelter. A physical ark, if you will.
makes sense. Clear dangers, clear need for protection. But the spiritual flood, that sounds way more complex.
It really is. And the texts use this powerful imagery, mirroring the original flood. Water from above, water from below.
So how does that translate spiritually? What's coming from above and below in this sense?
Well, the from above part,
Mm-hmm.
that's described as an intellectual onslaught. Think academia, cultural elites.
Okay.
The sources say intellectuals inundate us with anti-religious messages. It's like a top-down erosion of faith or traditional values. Sophisticated critique.
Got it, like a rain of skepticism. And from below.
That's the groundswell. Mass dissatisfaction. People feeling disconnected from or unhappy with the religious or moral status quo.
So it's not just intellectual doubt, it's also a kind of popular disillusionment bubbling up.
Exactly. A sense that the system isn't working for them. So you get this pincer movement, intellectual critique from the top, grassroots dissatisfaction from the bottom.
A spiritual perfect storm, like you said.
Right. And when that storm hits, what's the first instinct?
Build an ark, protect yourself.
Precisely. People gather together,
Ah.
they safeguard themselves, they put up walls, literally or metaphorically.
So as not to drown, as the text puts it. Building the modern ark.
But these aren't small wicker boxes anymore.
No, the scale is massive now. The sources talk about arks the size of neighborhoods, even whole cities, insular communities.
Yeah, think about closed-off, self-sufficient groups trying to weather that spiritual storm.
And who's inside these big modern arks? Is it just the perfectly righteous?
That's a key point. No. The sources say, sure, you might have countless tzaddikim, genuinely righteous people, but you might also find, and this is a direct quote, one Canaan, one Ham, and even one Shem with his house of study.
Okay, hang on. For listeners maybe not deep in Genesis right now, why is it significant to mention Canaan and Ham being inside the ark too?
Great question. Canaan and Ham, in the tradition, represent, well, let's say, moral failings or spiritual flaws that emerged after the flood, even among the survivors.
So even within the protected space, the potential for the problem still exists. The ark isn't automatically pure.
Exactly. Being saved from the deluge doesn't instantly perfect you or the community. The seeds of the old problems can still be inside the walls.
Which makes the next point feel really urgent, this paradox of protection.
Yes, you build the ark, you're safe inside, but then the text warns, for those inside, no other world exists.
You become cut off. Contemporary spiritual isolation.
The very thing that saved you now blinds you to the world outside. You're safe, but maybe you've forgotten why you needed saving or what the larger point was.
And the sources use Noah himself as the cautionary tale here, right, after the flood.
Sharply so. They warn that even someone saved, like Noah, can end up like a drunkard, leading an insular life even in spiritual matters.
That sounds incredibly harsh for the guy who saved humanity. Why frame it as being like a drunkard?
I think the image is about being disoriented, withdrawn, maybe self-absorbed, not engaged with the reality around him. He survived, physically but spiritually. The text suggests a kind of withdrawal, an isolation.
So the focus isn't just on getting through the flood, but what you do afterwards.
Precisely. Survival isn't the ultimate goal, according to this view. engagement is. And Noah, despite his initial favor, ends in what the text calls defeat.
Defeat, even after finding favor in building the ark.
Yeah, described as an old, lonely man with nothing to show for his life's achievements and struggles beyond mere survival, which is a stunning assessment.
Wow, and this personal defeat connects to a bigger idea.
Yes, the sources link it to the failure of the world's second draft.
Okay, first draft, second draft, what does that mean here?
The first draft is creation itself. Genesis 1, God sees it was very good, but then humanity messes up, becomes corrupt, and God grieves. First draft failed.
Right, leading to the flood.
The flood is the reset, the attempt at a second draft, with Noah as the starting point. But if Noah just retreats into isolation afterwards, if the world doesn't fundamentally change its trajectory of engagement,
then the second draft also kind of fizzles out. It doesn't achieve the hoped-for transformation.
that's the implication. Noah saved the hardware, maybe, but the software wasn't rebooted effectively. He preserved life, but didn't necessarily elevate its purpose in the way that was hoped.
Okay, so if Noah represents that kind of insular survival, who represents the alternative?
Abraham. He's the contrast. The sources describe him as someone capable of being entirely alone. Think about him, one monotheist in a sea of polytheism, spiritually isolated in a different way.
Right, he stood apart.
But unlike Noah's withdrawal, Abraham's goal and his success was about fitting the entire world into his ark.
Wait, Abraham didn't build a literal ark, so what does that mean, fitting the world into his ark?
It's metaphorical, of course. It means his project wasn't just about protecting himself or his family, but about influencing, engaging, and ultimately transforming the entire world. He reached outwards, built connections, shared his vision.
So Noah builds walls and looks inward. Abraham, despite being spiritually alone sometimes, looks outward.
Exactly. Noah's Ark was exclusive. Abraham's Ark was inclusive, expansive. He aimed to bring everyone else in, conceptually.
That's a powerful contrast. So bringing it back to us, facing our own floods, what's the takeaway question here?
The source basically puts it right to you. What is the fundamental difference here? Noah's way, isolate to survive. Abraham's way, engage to transform, even from a position of solitude. Which path is truly saving?
It forces you to confront that tension. Can you be protected and engaged at the same time? Is it possible?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The Ark model often prioritizes protection, sometimes sacrificing engagement. The Abraham model prioritizes engagement, even if it feels riskier, more vulnerable.
So the ultimate insight we're supposed to get from this is about our own goals when we feel overwhelmed, when the floodwaters rise.
Right. Are we just trying to build a little lifeboat to save ourselves from the world, keep our heads above water?
Or is the real mission, the Abrahamic mission perhaps, to somehow try and save the world itself, to engage with it, change it, elevate it?
The difference is subtle in wording, maybe, but massive in implication. Sanctuary versus engine for change.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. The flood isn't just history, it's perennial. The modern ark risks becoming an isolation chamber. Noah's path shows survival isn't the whole story.
Leading to that stark choice. Noah's insular safety or Abraham's risky world-changing engagement.
And the sources don't just leave it as a philosophical choice, do they? There are stakes.
Huge stakes. The final warning, really, that echoes through these texts is profound.
What is it?
It basically says, if the saved over, those inside the ark, however you define it, choose that insular life. If they fail to engage and transform the world,
Then what?
then the world just has to wait. It has to wait another 10 generations until someone comes along to save it.
Wow. So our choices today in our ark have consequences that ripple through generations. It puts the responsibility squarely on us right now.
Absolutely. It's not just about our own survival or comfort. It's about whether we step up to the Abrahamic challenge or let the world drift for potentially centuries more. That's the question these sources leave you with. A heavy one.